Hi, I'm Justin Edwards, and I'm presenting Embrace Your Incompetence, Designing Appropriate CUI Communication Through an Ecological Approach on behalf of my University College Dublin colleagues Sophie Becker and Phil Doyle. We have an expectations problem in CUI world. In fact, sometimes it feels like that's all we ever talk about. The last half-decade has established the existence of a gulf of expectations between what users expect and CUI reality. User studies have drawn out some revelatory quotes like, having a really bad PA, or a weird kind of hard-coded personality. And we've had participants saying things like, I don't enjoy communicating with machines, calling it unnormal, or waxing poetic about sitting deep in the uncanny valley. It's clear that this stuff is really weird. CUI interactions are weird, at least in part, because of how we form partner models. When we have a conversation with a partner, we make guesses about their conversational abilities. These guesses can be initially informed by superficial cues like someone's physical appearance, their age, their gender, their ethnicity. As we interact more with that partner, we update our mental model based on our experience. My co-author Phil Doyle has done a lot of work on how partner models are formed and updated as we interact with CUI partners. Our initial partner models are highly influenced by cues like a human-like name and a human-sounding voice, setting up an expectation of human-like capabilities. And this is where things begin to go awry. Communication breaks down. It fails to meet the expectations set by these superficial cues. So if expectations are too high, we just need to lower them, right? Roger Moore has led the call for appropriateness, that the human likeness of a CUI's features should be congruent with its intended function. Moore highlighted the success of the non-human mammalian synthesized voice imbued in the robotic pet Myro. At our first CUI conference a few years ago, Ayla and colleagues gave an example of appropriateness gone wrong with Vector, a toy robot with a modulated human-like voice which came off as an evil robot overlord, as they put it, and the toy flopped as a commercial product. But non-human-like CUIs simply aren't winning in the marketplace dominated by increasingly human-like voice assistants made by megacorporations. Google Duplex captured attention with its extremely human-like voice and manner of address, booking appointments for users and phone conversations. Ayla and colleagues called Google and Amazon tech killers in their provocation paper. As they put it, those companies have created a default design which promotes a neutral US female voice as the obvious choice for conversational user interaction. I might add the word human-like to this default design, but now, 3 years later, there is little evidence of mainstream deviation from this default. So how do we thread this needle, bridging appropriateness with the hypernatural? We call on CUI designers to embrace incompetence. Humans, even particularly human-like, neutral US females, make mistakes. We misunderstand, we mishear, we feel unsure, but we also signal this. We use a variety of cues to communicate our own imperfection, to show that we don't know the answer, that we need more information. In doing so, we, as humans, set appropriate expectations, allowing our conversational partners to rapidly update their partner model and smooth out communication. CUIs don't do this. Alexa, Siri, and Google Assistant put forth a vocal mask of confidence and competence, not indicating that communication is breaking down until the, sorry, I don't know that one, which shatters the illusion and shows us that our expectations were wrong. This harsh break between the competent expectations and the incompetent reality bothers us. We argue that it bothers us in particular exactly because the cues of competence are not human-like. Even if designers insist on a hypernatural, human-like voice, they're failing to accomplish that goal because of a failure to embrace cues of incompetence. By using cues of incompetence and using them in different amounts and combinations, reflecting a CUI's level of confidence, CUI designers can express a subtly nuanced spectrum between confident certainty and humiliated bewilderment. Adding these honest signals, which we call the ecological approach, can help bridge the divided approaches to the gulf of expectations, achieving greater human-like naturalness while also abiding by the tenet of appropriateness. Google, Apple, and Amazon probably aren't going to start using non-human mammalian synthesizers to schedule your next doctor's appointment, but their market dominance means that human-like CUIs they develop will continue to shape people's partner models of CUIs in general. It is therefore critical that human-like CUIs embrace their incompetence. People will only put up with a bad PA or sit deep in the uncanny valley for so long. Setting ecologically valid, appropriate expectations is critical for not just how we interact with each individual CUI, but for how people understand CUIs in general. We thank you for your attention, and if you want to embrace your incompetence with any of us, you can get into contact right here. And I give my thanks once again to my colleagues Sophie Becker and Phil Doyle.